Hello, I'm Christina with The Turned Leg. I love to salvage, repurpose, and create and help others to do the same. And did you know August 17th was National Thrift Store Day? Well, that's like a national holiday for me. And so what did I do? I grabbed a friend. We headed to the thrift stores. Actually, we headed to Toledo, Ohio. Come along and see all of the treasures that I found. Our first stop was the Salvation Army thrift store in Toledo. I love this store. They usually have tons of furniture and great prices. I grabbed my cart and started shopping. Of course, I stopped and looked at furniture first. Lots of interesting pieces. To see what I come home with, stay tuned to the end of the video. The next stop was the home goods area, and it's one of my favorite to look for vintage treasures. There was a lot to see, which always makes me happy. I'm always looking for cool glassware. I did find these, but there were only 3, so I decided to pass on them. They also had a whole bunch of desks that looked new and looked like IKEA furniture. $39.99, not a bad price. I did spot one of my favorite things, which is restaurant ware. Just some unmatched cups, but they were really cool to see. So many cool treasures. I was noticing, though, a slight uptick in prices. Toledo has really still been low, but the prices at the store have been going up a little bit higher. And there's always some pattern when you're thrifting. Little shoes were everywhere, which you'll see throughout this video. Shoes were everywhere. Maybe there was a whole collection or something turned in. The store always has great clear glass and even crystal mixed in. Loved these glasses for 99 cents, but they were kind of plain. Clear glass still not selling that great. So I headed over to linens and I found this and was in love, but unfortunately so many stains, so I had to pass. Sometimes if I find curtain fabric like this, I can save a portion of it or turn it into pillows, but this was too far gone. I've also been searching for wool throws everywhere without any luck. I was hoping to find some in Toledo, but I did find a lot of these handmade throws. One of them came home with me. Take a guess down in the comments below. Which one do you think I took? Stay tuned to the end to find out. The next shop was also a Salvation Army. This one is a little bit smaller. I, of course, headed right to housewares and was happy to find this souvenir ware. It wasn't very old, and I also found another one too. These always just bring me a little bit of joy while thrifting. And this store had bags of tiny shoes, lots and lots of bags. I found these 3 enamel bowls for only $2.99. And if you know me, you know that one of my favorite colors is green, and this store did not disappoint. Lots of cool green items. Most were $2.99 or less, and there was so much to choose from. I do make sure that when I go thrifting that I pack my own wrap. I usually keep a roll of paper towel in my trunk because a lot of stores are running out of newspaper. So little pro tip for you. I also spotted these faux milk glass like wall hangings. I already have a set or I would have picked these up. And then I think this thing is like a towel rack for the bathroom. Is that what this is? What is the point of this? Does anyone have one? I just see them all over the place at thrift stores, and I never really see them in use. Of course, I checked the bookshelf. No good vintage books today. You really never know what you're going to find when you go thrifting. In the past, I found an IKEA leather recliner here for only $29. So I always like to look. And both of these pieces that you're going to see were in great shape at great prices. Probably should have brought one of them home. I was still checking for the wool throws without any luck, but I did see a lot of upholstery fabric. This is a great deal at thrift stores, especially if you recover chairs or do any refinishing of furniture. Always a good idea to have some on hand. I also found this little suitcase, pretty beat up for $9.99, but it came home with me because of what was inside. Stay tuned to the end to see what's inside of this little suitcase. The next store was a Goodwill, and they had this amazing hutch for only $100 in 2 pieces. I just wasn't feeling strong because this would have been a fun piece to bring home. They did have a lot of stuff, but I'm noticing a huge trend of things in bins and not on shelves. They're worth checking out, but sometimes I get frustrated by all of the breakable items that are just in the bin. So I headed off to Home Goods, and usually the Goodwills are a little higher priced than the Salvation Army, but you just never know. It depends on who is pricing the items. They also have new-ish items here too. They also had their Christmas items out, and I spotted more little shoes. Yep, although this one was cologne or perfume, so I'm not touching that one. Always be careful of those at the thrift store. I also spotted this cute little radio from Radio Shack. That's been a while since they've been in business. Is it considered vintage yet? And for some reason, the puzzles and games were just very appealing to me. I fell in love with the Down on the Farm game. I loved how it looked. Never heard of the game before, but I just almost wanted to frame it and put it on a shelf. It was just so pretty. The things I find funny in the thrift store, all of the artwork was groupings. Owls, dogs, ducks. I just started laughing in the thrift store out loud. If you heard someone laughing out loud in the thrift store, yep, that was me. I also found these gooseneck brackets. Not really sure what they were used for, but they were cool. I also spotted this, which I thought like would hold rings or something, but I flipped it over and found out it was an apple baking dish. Has anyone ever used one of these? Do they actually work? It was $5.99, but it was an interesting piece. The next stop is another Goodwill, and normally this place has a ton of furniture. We did see some. These desks were $75. They were sold together. Also saw this mission chair at $50, but most of the areas for furniture were now filled with bins. So kind of disappointed with that, but there was still a lot to look through. You know it's popular when the thrift store has an end cap display. They had a lot of brass items. Even the thing that looks like a balloon was actually made of brass. I also spotted these hand-painted pictures, a little too pricey, and there was damage. And since there were bins everywhere instead of furniture in the store, I decided to check them out. You know, you never know what you're going to find. The bins even had a rubber chicken for only $1. Off to furniture, and prices were all over the place. I did spot this cute little sewing chair. It had a price of $20, which was a little pricey. It's so cool and cute though. You open it up to put all of your sewing items underneath. Very excited by this dresser. Loved all the details. There was no mirror, and unfortunately too pricey with so much damage. There was even damage to the marble. Then I saw some burled wood, and you know, I haven't seen a lot of it lately. I've recently gotten a vanity for my booth at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall that is for sale, and actually it's in much better shape than this piece. So I passed on this piece, but I was excited to see it. It's a very cool wood. It was a really fun time in Toledo. I will put all of the locations down below in the description box, so if you want to check them out. Little disappointed. Prices were going up, which I know is a pattern all the way across the board in so many places. Sad to see that Toledo is also following suit. Also, lack of furniture in some of the places that usually have it. Hopefully it's just like a little blip on the radar and they'll get more in. I know they're just putting items where they can to sell stuff as they can. So there was a lot more smalls in some of the stores than furniture, but I still would highly recommend a trip to Toledo. It is a lot of fun. Let's take a look at all the items that I found, and all of the items that you're going to see here are going to be heading to my booth at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall in Lincoln Park, Michigan for sale. If you've made it this far, it's because you want to find out what's in the suitcase, right? Whenever you're at thrift stores, always open things up to check what's inside. Old suitcases, I can sell kind of as is as project suitcases. A lot of people love to fix them up and make them pretty, but this one was filled with really cool old books. They had books that I had never seen before, the Submarine Boys, and it also had the Motor Club books, which I hadn't heard of either. Sets of these books are going to easily make my money back and the profit. Even though they're in rough shape, they're still really cool. I will say too, the minute I put the suitcase in my booth as is, it sold right away, and I sold it for $10, which instantly made back my money. Buying bean pots is always a good idea. This one was at a great price and it's perfect for fall, even if someone's just using it for decor. And you saw this as a part of the green items. I couldn't pass it up. Green and browns are always good for fall. And I couldn't pass up this wreath. I ended up getting it for only $1, and I just don't see wreaths with cherries very often. And how cute are these measuring cups? Whether you put them on a shelf or a pegboard, they would be great and useful in your kitchen. And remember all those vintage throws that I spotted? I said one was coming home with me. Here's the big reveal. I chose this one for the great colors. It was also an excellent shape. Vintage throws are becoming more popular in my area, and who doesn't love the idea of a throw to snuggle up to in fall? Thrifting is always so much more fun with friends. I had a great time in Toledo. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has inspired you to maybe check out some new thrift stores near you. Now get out there to salvage, repurpose, and create.